Jack Edge is coming back, and he is going to be John Cena's final opponent. I am putting the stamp of approval on it right now, and this is the conversation we are about to have. Give me your first initial thoughts.
My first initial thoughts, Steve, were that Edge is leaving AEW. He's going on a sabbatical. He's got to take care of Beth. He's got to take care of the kids. He's got to go back to Asheville, North Carolina. And he's got to do whatever he's got to do. He's got to shoot Percy Jackson season 3, which will be coming out on Disney Plus at some point next year in 2026. Love that show for anybody that watches it. And Edge plays a badass tweener character, I will say. He's not a good guy. He's not a bad guy. He's the guy. Based on last night, there's a lot of content creators around the world. I even did a video on it last night. You texted me right away. You're like, does this mean they're bringing Adam back to WWE, at least for one match? Is there in some possible scenario that Tony Khan and Paul Levesque can get on the same page for one night and allow WWE to bring back one of their Hall of Famers, their true pioneers in Adam Edge Copeland? I think it's possible. Never say never in the world of professional wrestling, Steve. Should we get our hopes up? Absolutely fucking not. We need to manage our expectations. Last night, my expectations were not managed. I was texting everybody, in the content space that I know. Oh my God, they're gonna pull it off. They're doing it. They're at very least teasing with us. And if they don't think they're teasing us, then they're full of shit. And Adam Copeland specifically is a guy who, if you hadn't watched his documentary in the lead up to his wrestling return back in 2020, he is huge on the element of surprise.
Yes. Big time.
If he is returning, he's not going to tell you. The inside sources online are saying he's not coming back to WWE. He's going to film season 3 of Percy Jackson, which I get. I 1000% believe that he's going to film Percy Jackson. I don't think they're going to film on a Saturday on December 13th in Washington, D.C. I do think they are going to film. So I think this is going to be an interesting scenario to watch play out over the next week, because also insider sources are saying, Steve, and this is kind of breaking news to me, I just found this out a couple of hours ago, that the WWE plans to reveal John Cena's final opponent within the next week. I don't know if that's legitimacy. I don't know if that's just the keyboard warriors saying that. Would they be smart to do that? Probably from a ticket and revenue standpoint, which is why I'm like really in a love-hate relationship right now with TKO over these ticket prices and over the way that they blatantly were like, Vince cared about families. We need to maximize our pockets, right?
Yeah.
Which is like the most evil thing that's ever come out of any businessman's mouth. So to me, I'm managing my expectations. Like, I don't want to get into a situation here, Steve, that if it's not Edge and if it's not Adam Copeland and if You Think You Know Me doesn't hit and the whole Capital One Bank Arena in DC is chanting and singing Metalingus by Alter Bridge, that it's going to take away from, a potential John Cena versus Drew McIntyre match, or a John Cena versus Braun Breaker, or a John Cena and Dominic Mysterio, or Gunther, or whoever else they have penciled in. Like, I don't want to be like, yep, he faced Gunther and he lost. Great. They could have done something way better, because Edge is technically under contract until October of 2026. So this would have to be a thing. So it was October 2025, but he got hurt. So they had to extend his deal.
He got hurt. He did extend the deal, but apparently from what actual sources are saying, he has that option to at least, like, that handshake deal to go back to AEW when ready to fulfill that contract. Same with I cannot remember the other person. There are 2 people in AEW right now that have that handshake deal saying, yes, we do have that time on our contract, but there is a stipulation in the contract saying we will fulfill it when we're ready. All right, let's flow back into it first. So at this point, there are sources that have said that he has that opportunity to fulfill the rest of the contract, but can go off and do other things.
Well, let me ask you this then, Steve, because this is important. If you go to your boss and say, I don't want to come into work for the next 3 months, and I am contractually allowed to do this, because it's a clause in my contract. I'm allowed to do this. So for one night, I'm going to go work for our biggest competitor that is kicking our ass in ratings, kicking our ass in revenue, and kicking our asses overall in the world of, the business that you're working in, right? Would that boss really be happy with you? Would Tony Khan really be happy with Adam Copeland if he went back to WWE and had probably one of the biggest moments that we've ever seen in wrestling history in 2025?
Exactly what you just said. 3 things you just said there. First off, one of the biggest moments we would actually see in wrestling history, which is the last match of John Cena's career. Okay. Secondly, Tony Khan. Yes, he is a business owner, but notoriously a professional wrestling mark. Everyone says it. He's a fan of the business before anything else. And what will that do for AEW's promotion if Tony Khan's the guy that says, yes, I will bend the knee to WWE? He knows he's never going to be bigger than WWE. So why not let this happen and then let Edge come back and feed off of the views of Edge going back to WWE, giving John Cena his moment in that feud. And then Edge comes back and says, I'm bringing all these viewers with me again to boost the ratings for AEW. Final thought before you jump in and try and kibosh everything I just said.
Kibosh?
Yeah, kibosh. You're going to go against everything I just said.
Is that a
Tony
Canadian
Khan's...
word?
Have you never heard the word kibosh before?
Never.
Really? Like squash everything. Squash and go against everything I just said. It's kibosh. It's a 90s thing.
Use that one more often.
It's a 90s thing. You wouldn't understand it. Anyways, point being, why would Tony Khan allow Edge to go out on one of the biggest programs of the year and do, in sequence, John Cena's movements? Literally having Let's Go Cena chants on All Out without muting it. It's already been built in my mind. Everything is leading to this. Tony Khan has already said, you know what? I've signed off on it. Edge, go do this because in a way for AEW, it's best for business. Santino Marella said it today on a podcast that once they get that TV deal, TNA is quite arguably going to be the number 2. AEW needs to do everything it can to stay in that position that they're in, and sending one of their biggest names over to the number 1 company and then having him come back. Like, I don't see as a business owner, I wouldn't see a problem with this. There's nothing that's going to hurt my business in AEW's facet than letting Edge go to the company he came from, where he built his brand, and go against, arguably everyone's opinion, the number 1 star in wrestling in his final match, his retirement match. And then, oh, you still have a year under your contract. You have to come back here and finish up everything, and I'm going to take all the revenue that's going to come from that. If I'm Tony Khan, Edge, Adam, go have fun. Cannot wait for the paycheck when you come back.
All right, I listened. I'm absorbing everything that you just said. I'm liking a lot of it. It's low-key getting me really excited. You can't see him right now, but I got the goosebumps. I got the Dwayne Johnson goosebumps, wiping them off like the final boss that I am. Don't hype me up. Why are you hyping me up? I want to see this just as much as anybody.
Yeah.
But I also want to manage my expectations. I posted 3 different videos on this today, and some of the comments were not very endearing for me. You know, comments such as, that will never happen. It's asking an apple for an orange. The fact that you would say that there are names too big for a guest spot basically cements that it wouldn't work. People have lost their minds when they think there's even a remote chance that this happens. I mean, these people are just destroying me left and right on YouTube. And I can't wait. I cannot wait, Steve, to bring these comments back up on December 13th as soon as Metalingus hits and as soon as Edge hits one final spear on John Cena.
Yep.
And they end their WWE careers together, walking off into the sunset. Because as big of a send-off that is for John Cena, I think that's just as big of a send-off in the WWE career for Edge.
And I don't disagree with that. I think, honestly, if we want to go down the road of contracts and all that kind of stuff, we both work in business. We both understand contracts. Any contract you can get out of. Virtually, you can get out of any contract. If you have the financial capabilities, you can buy yourself out of your contract.
But this isn't a situation where Edge hates AEW and he wants to escape.
Understood. But if that was the situation where, you know what, Edge has gone to Tony Khan and said, you know what, I think this is best for my career to end it like this. Yes, I owe you a year. A year under Edge's contract is X amount of millions of dollars. You know what? I will take that out of merchandise sales or however you want to claim that money back and rake that money back. I will do that. Edge could be that type of person that says, okay, $5, $7, $8 million. Okay, I'll shovel it back to you. You can take your money back or have me do special appearances that aren't wrestling related, and I will do those in AEW for you. But if we have been trying to figure this out for the last year of the John Cena retirement tour, Edge versus John Cena, now that the Brock Lesnar thing happened, Edge versus John Cena is the thing that makes the most sense when it comes down to a final match. We didn't think it was possible. They planted the seed on Dynamite. Now there's the possibility. And I will breathe it in, man. Breathe it in. And
drink it in, man.
Yeah, drink it in, man. Because honestly, I think we are on the road to something extremely special. And it could help AEW in the long run. This could be a very smart business play by Tony Khan.
This would be kicking down the actual forbidden door.
100%.
New Japan and AEW teaming up for a forbidden door PLE every year. It's cool. You get to see matches you've never seen before and matches you wouldn't be able to see unless you tune into that event. But these are two companies that legitimately they've never once promoted each other.
Nope.
AEW takes digs at WWE all the time. WWE doesn't even acknowledge AEW. I don't think they've ever acknowledged them in interviews.
I'll disagree with that. Literally last weekend at the PLE, Miz talked about Bryan Danielson and said, we don't even talk about that guy anymore. That was a dig.
Different.
That's a dig.
Completely different. He has a real life animosity, and they've feuded on WWE TV for years. That is completely different. Triple H has never once taken a dig at Will Ospreay on WWE TV. Right? If they want to take digs at former WWE superstars, that's one thing. I don't think they've ever talked about someone outside of their company that's never worked for their company. We said it back in June. If John Cena, instead of mentioning Nick Nemeth, Claudio Castagnoli, and Matt Cardona, if he had mentioned Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, we'd still be talking about it today like it happened yesterday.
Yeah.
That would have gone down as one of the greatest promos ever, mentioning three huge stars that have never stepped foot in a WWE ring. But I don't think WWE has ever publicly taken a shot at a legitimate AEW homegrown superstar.
The only argument on that is the whole Will Ospreay contract negotiations when Will Ospreay was a free agent and Will came out and said that there was a shot taken at him by Triple H saying somebody couldn't adhere to our schedule. and I'll find the clip and I'll put it in this video.
No, I remember Paul was on. He was on Pat McAfee's show leading up to WrestleMania 40 at WWE World, but he wasn't saying someone couldn't. Like, it's not like we were going through tryouts and whatever, and this one person couldn't do this. He more so said something along the lines like, if you have to be dedicated to this 24/7, 7 days a week, you gotta be able to travel whenever. If we call you at 3 a.m., you better pick up the phone. You have to have that mentality to be a WWE superstar, because if you're someone that thinks that they can, take X amount of days off and they could have this schedule, then you don't belong here. And maybe that was a shot at Will Ospreay, but he didn't say it in a way where it was supposed to be a shot at anybody. It was more so a professional common courtesy of, this is how we do things. If you don't like it, don't work here.
But Will definitely took it that way. That's for sure. And
Will took it that way, and of course took a dig at Triple H on AEW TV, because that's what they've done since they originated.
Since they originated, 100%. Actually, one of the worst people that has done it is Chris Jericho, countless times. And look what's happening.
I don't know if he's done it that much. MJF does it. MJF does it a lot.
No, go back and we can find the clips. Chris Jericho has taken countless shots at WWE since being on AEW television, because he knows he has that open form to do so. There was the Jack Swagger thing. We the People. That was a direct shot at WWE.
Well, I don't think that was
as
much I just want to make this point. I don't think that was as much of a direct shot at WWE as it was Jake Hager hating that gimmick and him being like, toss this out there, because
fair enough.
But I don't think it was a shot at WWE more so, because he also paid homage to Eddie Guerrero in that promo. I remember it was the Inner Circle promo when they debuted the Inner Circle. The Viva La Raza. And then the We the People thing. But I don't think it was like a direct shot at WWE, more so than it was being like this. I mean, that was also in an era where I think he was a little bitter towards Vince, right?
That's where I'm getting with that. The shots.
I remember. Okay. I'm remembering it now. Where he said something along the lines of like, this isn't a company where the booking, like, it's bad booking and everything sucks, or something.
Bad booking by
bad
line. Creative. That was the verbatim
bad
words.
Booking by bad creative. Yeah.
Bad booking by bad creative. So overall, I just want to get back to what we're talking about here. Do you think we have the chance to see John Cena versus Edge in Washington, D.C. as the last match of John Cena's career? Yes or no? There's no overall, like, maybe this. Yes or no?
Yes, there's a chance. There's always a chance. I think if they truly wanted to, they can at least have the conversation, if they haven't already. To your point, like them allowing Adam to hit the 5-knuckle shuffle and have that moment on one of their biggest pay-per-views of the year and All Out in front of a lively crowd in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. It does speak volumes. I don't know if Tony Khan's one to mute the audience in anything. Especially on pay-per-view, like TBS could have a problem with certain stuff and they mute it out, right? Because that's the same thing with WWE. It's the USA Network, it's Netflix, it's any endeavor that they partner with. So that is intriguing to me that they didn't do that. So that tells me potentially that the hand's already been shook by both parties, and that it's possible. And yeah, you never say never in the world of pro wrestling. It would be one of the top moments in forever in pro wrestling if those two got to end their careers together in WWE. Because like I said, this would be, in my opinion, and it should be, if it happens, a one-off appearance for John Cena's final match for Adam Copeland.
So
it's possible.
Last thing before we get into it or finish it off. Does it happen as John Cena comes to the ring in DC and goes like, who is it? Or is there at least a 2-week build from Boston?
I think it has to be
from Boston, because think about it. Boston's what, 2 weeks? Maybe 3 weeks?
No, Boston's about a month. Boston is November 10th.
Yeah, so you got a month of Boston to the vignettes to the final match. And you know WWE has been killing their vignettes lately. Could we get that build? Or at least, you remember when Edge came back or came to AEW and he came in that GTO, the 71 GTO, I believe it was?
Yeah.
Imagine just those of John Cena building and building, and we just get these video vignettes, very Wyatt 6, but like that AEW vignette of this guy just cruising down the road on the way to DC, state by state. Dude, there's something there.
There definitely is something there, and that is the storybook ending to John Cena's career, and really the last match that could happen from a physical standpoint that we haven't seen on this tour yet. Because I'd be one to argue that we've seen basically everything that we've wanted to see, minus maybe a Kevin Owens match, which unfortunately just timing wise couldn't happen. We haven't seen him compete nor win the Intercontinental Championship, and I still don't think that is out of the question yet. Beyond that, Edge is kind of like the icing on the cake of the last thing we haven't seen. We've seen a CM Punk match. We've seen a Randy Orton match. We've seen him win his 17th World Championship. We saw him main event his final WrestleMania. We saw him turn heel. We didn't even ask for that. We saw him face Cody Rhodes multiple times. We got to see multiple R-Truth. I mean, he literally got R-Truth to come back and be Ron Killings, though we have not seen kind of the climax of what that could be
climax
yet.
of that, yeah.
Oh, hopefully we can see it one day. We got to see a great Logan Paul match in Paris. We're going to get to see him face AJ Styles one final time.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say we're going to see him compete in his first and last ever War Games match in San Diego. Like, we've gotten a lot from this tour. We've gotten a lot of quality stuff.
It's crazy. A lot of people are saying, oh, was this John Cena retirement tour a failure? Absolutely not. Like,
no.
We've basically gotten everything that we needed to get, minus the things that are virtually impossible to get. Kevin Owens. We cannot get Kevin Owens. Okay? Right now, Rey Mysterio is still injured. We cannot get Rey Mysterio. If we could bring him back from the grave, Eddie Guerrero versus John Cena. Very early in his career, Eddie and John had a great feud. I significantly remember a parking lot brawl where Eddie got put through a front windshield of a car, and John was dressed in his whole basketball gear thug life thing, right? Also, Big Show. We can't get Big Show. And the other one, the final one, is JBL. Those are the only ones in John Cena's career that have established their feuds. We cannot get it. But we have gotten everything else. Virtually everything else, minus Adam Copeland, a.k.a. Edge.
I mean, there's people online complaining that we haven't seen John Cena versus Sheamus yet. Like, yeah, decent feud in 2010, but like, we don't need to see that. We don't need to see John Cena versus The Miz, you know? Main event of WrestleMania, cool, but like that's not something that I'm like going to be so disappointed to the point where I show up with a black and white camera and I act all depressed and think like, well, I mean, it was fine, but like we didn't get to see John versus The Miz. Like that was the greatest WrestleMania of all time, right? Nobody's thinking that. Like nobody's clamoring for John Laurinaitis to come back and say people power and wrestle John Cena one final time. Yeah. You know, we've seen all the greatest hits. The only thing that, you know, they wish they could have seen was maybe John Cena put over a Carmelo Hayes, a Braun Breaker, a Gunther, which is still all very much on the table. I am one to believe that John Cena will compete in a match in each of his final 5 appearances. We already know he's facing AJ Styles, so that's one down. War Games, I'm assuming he's competing in War Games. That's 2. Yep. His final match is going to be a match. So that leaves 2 appearances, and that's both the Raw in Boston and the Raw in New York City. You know he's competing in both of those. To me, this is how you book it. This is how you book it, Steve.
Okay.
John Cena, who's going to be so over in his hometown of Boston, Massachusetts, in his final ever appearance there, versus arguably the biggest heel that you could put him against in Dirty Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship. Regardless of who wins the match, that's the match you book as the main event of Raw in Boston.
Liv returns, cost John Cena.
I don't think
Just
that's
say,
how it's going to be booked.
I know, but I'm just saying that's crazy if it did.
I mean, Liv could return. She could return before then and accompany Dom to the ring, But I think they'll probably try to set up something bigger, whether it's Metalingus hitting, like you mentioned before, or whether like maybe Lesnar comes out and then that's the build to War Games,
Yeah.
I booked arguably the most stacked War Games match we've ever seen, and I hope it happens.
We did, and we will tag that because that video is up on the Straight Shoot channel. So we will tag that in this video. But overall, Jack, we will or we will not get Edge as the final match for John Cena.
That's too tough of a question.
It's how we're ending the video. So you got to answer it.
I'll say this: if they announce John Cena's final opponent this week, like. I don't know who's saying that, but it is going around that they plan on announcing it by like Monday.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to announce John Cena versus Edge. I think if this match happens, Steve, we're going to find out the night of December 13th.
The night of. And that's probably
Imagine, you think you know me? Imagine that pop.
Dude, it'll be bigger than the Rumble. It'll be bigger than the Rumble when he returned after how many years of having that neck injury. But at the end of the day, I'm going to say this. I think we actually get it because no one else makes sense. Breaker doesn't make sense as a final opponent. Dom doesn't make sense as a final opponent. Sheamus, nobody. At this point, I am all in on it being Edge. Guys, let us know in the comments, is Edge John Cena's final opponent? And let us know how they develop it. Anyways, like always, be good people.